Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City media podcast. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, homies, ladies and gents? Episode 97 is here. Timothy and I coming to you live on a Tuesday this week. We waited to record to get our live reactions from the hoops for St. Jude. We'll get back to that later. Timothy, tell the fine folks at home what we're drinking this evening.
I'm going to try to pull the reflection off. That light is so hard to see. I don't know if you can see that. This is Grind City Octoberfest, continuing the trend of Octoberfest because it is October 15th, and that is prime Octoberfest time. I cannot pop the top off this bad boy.
I think this is our last Octoberfest that we hadn't had yet.
It is. We need more breweries to make an Oktoberfest, you know?
We need more Oktoberfest.
Looking back, we did Crosstoberfest from Crosstown last week. Who else? We did a couple Oktoberfest earlier in the year, right? Yeah, Wiseacre, High Cotton, and Ghost River.
We might have to roll them back. Just bring them back every October.
Someone else has got to have one, and I just can't seem to find it. I think that there's got to be someone out there that has one that we haven't tried yet.
Well, as our beer connoisseur, it's up to you to find it.
I'll find it. And if it's there, I'll find
it. Timothy, we're fresh off of the hoops for St. Jude, but before we get to that, we played a football game this weekend, whether it felt like it or not.
It's a good way to word that, I think.
To the surprise of many, we left it last week. We didn't even give score predictions because we didn't feel confident that the game was even going to be played. And eventually, something that honestly probably could have been decided on Tuesday, they moved the game to Orlando, Camping World Stadium. 2:30 Saturday. We got bumped from what was going to be primetime television on a Friday night on ESPN to ESPN Plus only.
Yeah.
So I'm sure all of 1,200 people tuned in.
I've actually seen the numbers. They're probably better than that, though.
I think the last game we had on ESPN Plus was only like 23,000 or something. 33.
Wow,
I don't know what it is. It was low. Wow, Troy just kicked one of the worst PAT attempts I've ever seen in my entire life. I felt real good, TJ, right after the I don't know, probably the first 7 minutes of the ball game, 7-8 minutes. You're up 14-0 very quickly. And then literally didn't do a damn thing again.
Definitely the tale of two halves, right? I mean, I think, the first quarter, you're like, oh, Memphis is coming out with the juice today. It's not always something. It's not something we've seen as of late. We haven't honestly seen Memphis come straight out of the gate, do something special. And then in this game they did. And you're like, oh, okay, let's show them something. Got to be a little nice to them. They just went through a hurricane, just hit them. Let's be a little nice. And then
I was hyped.
Second half.
I was ready to blow them out. It felt eerily, the first drive felt eerily similar to Navy, so I was a little bit reserved. I was like, all right, we just marched down the field. We scored. Defense go ahead. They get a 3-and-out. We get the ball back, and then we punted. So I was like, that's almost exactly what happened at Navy. But you go up 14-0. You should have been up 17-0. And look, I'm not trying to be ugly, but we need to have kicker tryouts or something. Or can we get my man Tanner Gillis back out there or something? We need to do something.
Yeah, does Joe Doyle have any eligibility?
I mean, no kidding. I'm holding back because I don't know who listens to this, but we've had a lot of good kickers, and I gotta say, Costa's the worst we've had in a while.
He is
I have
definitely off to a
zero
rough start.
confidence when we line up for a field goal that it's ever going in.
You know, it's wild too because during warmups, Silverfield says that he is great. Like he is sinking them from a mile out. Like he's consistent. He hits them in practice. It just seems like in games he just can't figure it out, and so a bit concerning because that's like the one time you do want to make them. You know, so
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. You saying that makes me you know what it makes me think of?
What's that?
Different sport on the hardwood, but Drew Barham was,
Hmm.
I mean, supposedly the best practice three-point shooter in the nation. Scrimmaging, practice, inside the Finch Center, didn't miss. Game time, I don't know that he made one the entire time that he was here
No,
in
come
a live
on.
action game.
That's not
Caden's obviously
true.
made some field goals, but let's be
Sure.
honest. What was that one? It was like
He is not as
39
bad as
yards.
we're making him sound. So he is
TJ,
20 of
it's
21 from extra points. It's the 7-11 from field goal range, right? So 2 for 3 versus North Alabama. He went 1 for 1 against Troy, 2 for 3 at Florida State, 1 for 1 Navy, 1 of 2 at Middle Tennessee, and then 0 for at South Florida. So it's not really as
30.
bad as we sound, but it feels way worse than that. It sound
It
like
does.
if I didn't know the numbers, it would sound it's like 7 of 15 is what it would feel like, I think.
That's what it. Yeah. I don't know. You come out, you miss a 39 yarder, and I don't know. It felt like we kept giving them
Laces out.
opportunities to stay in the game, but it never really honestly was ever in question. And it's
Yeah.
so weird now. You know, this game last year was what, 59-50. It is so weird to be in these games. Like last week was what, 24-7, or 2 weeks ago against MTSU, last game you played,
Hmm.
21-3, 20-12. Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. In the first half, we also controlled the ball for like all but 5 minutes. We had
Yeah.
possession the entire first half. I mean, overall in the game, it was almost 42 minutes to 18 in favor of us. You had 345 total yards of offense, 208 through the air. Seth did throw it 40 times, but only 5.2 yards a pass. You rushed for over 100, 137
Yeah.
as a team, but I don't know. The offense just feels broken. Is the
Yeah.
offense broken, Timothy? What's going
I wouldn't
on?
say I don't think it's broken. I think that they've had to alter what they originally had planned, right? Like this offense is completely different today than it would be with Sutton there, right? If you have a Sutton or a Duosier, like you have a running back who is actually a running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. They can be explosive, and you just don't have that, right? I think our biggest or yeah, it feels like our most explosive run has been a Brandon Thomas run, right?
Well,
If I
you
had to
got
think on it,
Saturday, you got down to essentially one running back left, and it
yeah,
was at one point he was probably your fourth string, realistically.
yeah. I just
So that was going to be my question: is like you come into the year, were you coming in the year? Is this just almost a result of how much they were planning to utilize Sutton offensively, and it's just like altered everything they're doing, and then you lose to Ozier, who kind of filled that role, and then now you lost Mario, so then they're just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna take care of the ball, chew the clock up, and get the heck out of here. Let the defense keep doing its thing, because the defense wasn't giving up jack crap on Saturday, outside of a stupid roughing the passer on a Hail Mary to end the half, and then freaking Grammatica coming in and drilling a 52-yard. Can we get him in the portal? Holy cow.
yeah, right.
I mean, you weren't giving up anything to South Florida. So it's like, we've scored 14. That's already enough to win. Just let the D do its thing, hold onto the ball, take care of it, and get out of here. It's been a weird week already. We didn't know if we were playing. We didn't know where we were playing. South Florida may never even practiced all week.
Yeah, it's definitely it has been an interesting year, right? And I don't know that it all comes down to the injury of Sutton Smith or anything like that specifically. It feels like the offense has come out flat a few times, or perhaps it is a completely different offense than what we're used to, right? I mean, we were talking a top 10, top 15 offense last year at sometimes throughout most of the year. I think they actually finished in the top 10 for total yardage, but this year is not that, right? It's ground and pound, let the run set up to pass. They're getting the tight ends more involved in the wide receivers. The defense has been incredible. You know, you talked about how the defense wasn't letting up anything. I think South Florida was 1 of 13 on third downs, which is incredible. Like the defense has been great. Which is good to know that they were so good against South Florida, because South Florida very similar to North Texas in a couple of ways. But I will wrap up USF before we jump over to North Texas. But it was definitely an interesting game, right? Like, you know, we talked about it the first few drives. You're like, okay, the Tigers look great offensively. They're finally getting the juice back, and then they just kind of went flat. And maybe it was more by design than it is, struggles, right?
Yeah,
Maybe that's what they
what
want it to be.
what was the time marker on it was the second quarter, right? When Mario spit in dude's face and got thrown
That
out.
was
I mean,
ridiculous.
also, Mario, if you're listening, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, it was
Yeah, I can't.
13:30 left in the second quarter. Unsportsmanlike conduct for spitting.
It's crazy.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, that's just disgusting. There was a lot of spitting incidences on Saturday with the
Yeah,
that Oregon wide receiver doing the same
Oregon.
thing. What the heck is it with spitting? Where is this coming from? I didn't even
It's
see
also
what the
just like
heck
a
the
weird
US I
thing.
mean, I'll say this, there was a lot of on Saturday in USF,
Sure.
not necessarily like just doing unnecessary stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I like? Not terribly dirty, but just like I
No,
don't
I know
know,
what you
some
mean.
kind of
I know what you're saying.
late shady stuff. Just I don't know, taking things just a maybe a smidge too far, trying to push some buttons. So I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if that defensive tackle said something to Mario after he got tackled or what it was, but he got up and just straight spit in that dude's mouth. That was horrendous.
Which was weird too, because it was so quick, like a bang bang play. Like the defensive tackle makes the play, and obviously they do the little rolling aspect after the tackle, but then it seemed like they just separated, and Mario sought
Yeah,
him
he
out
was
to spit
well,
on
he
him.
was Mario was down almost as if like his ankle got, I don't know. He was like
Yeah,
on his knees with his head down, and I don't know if the dude said something to him when he was down, and Mario just got
yeah.
up and I don't know. Unacceptable. Yeah, offensively, I don't know what's going on. That doesn't look right to me. He at times it felt like he had all day back there, and we were still
Yeah.
not finding an open receiver, which is like I don't understand that. You brought back your entire receiving core, who was great last year, and through 6 games, you have 2 touchdown receptions between Demir Rock and Kobe Drake, which seems
Yeah.
like that shouldn't even be possible. One of them wasn't he like probably shouldn't have been a touchdown. It was just Rock went and made a hell of a play at Nate. He basically set through a prayer up in the second half into double coverage, and Rock just went up and made a play. Like that's one of your 2 touchdowns, and then the other one being
Yeah.
a wide open Demir for the first tutty the other night or the other day.
Yeah.
It's not Florida. So like the 3 of them to have 2 touchdown receptions at this point in the season is I don't know.
Well,
Just
it's not
seems
too shocking.
wrong.
Well, it's not too shocking. I mean, last year you got to think the touchdowns were spread out a pretty good amount last year as well. Like I don't remember Rock having, I don't know how many he had off the top of my head, 5 or 6 touchdowns maybe last year. Like he
Yeah, I mean,
never
I
really,
think
he was
Demir
making the
led
big plays. He was just never getting the touchdowns, right?
yeah, I think Demir led with
He had
8.
4. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Rock
yeah, I
had
mean,
4.
yeah, but you just coming into this season, I think a lot of the talk was explosiveness.
Mm-hmm.
You got Demir and Kobe coming back, so everybody's excited about the receiving core. Obviously, Seth being back, so that continuity, the chemistry's there. So it just feels strange for them to not have more connections into the end zone at this point. But again, I think it's also just how it's played out with the health of running back positions, and then just how some of the games have gone, right? Like you're getting these leads and it's boring. It sucks. People don't like it. But it's kind of like Silverfield's MO is get the lead, take care of the ball, possession, and get out of there with the dub.
You know, it's weird too, because like the defense is good. And I don't know if it's the defense is so good because the offense is doing a better job of controlling the ball and just keeping the defense off the field, letting it get well rested.
Defense
I don't know
is
if it's that
fresh AF every series.
I don't know if it's the defense is just it has the fresh legs. Is that the talent is better this year? Is it the scheme? Like
I think it's a combo
it's hard
of
to
all
say.
that.
Yeah, I would say it's hard to say it's one thing specifically. It probably is a combination of all of it, but the offense being boring as much as it is boring, I think it helps the defense, obviously, but also I just looked, they're only averaging about 50 less yards per game than they did last year. So it's not like they're like being awful. It's not like the offense is terrible.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, it does feel a lot different. Like I remember a lot of huge explosive running plays last year. I remember a lot of big passing yards. I mean, how many 100-yard receiving yards how many 100-yard receiving games did Rock Taylor have last year? It was like 2, 3. And I think we've had one this year, maybe. Hell, he probably actually had like 3 or 4 because he went over 1,000. So
yeah, he had over 1,000. So he had to have several that were.
He had.
Yeah. So far, his only one this year's Navy.
3, 4, 5, 6. He had 6 last year, including the bowl game.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so he and
143, 102, 108, 159, 146, 102. I mean,
yeah, he and Kobe both went for over 100 at Navy. And then Demir's had 7. No. Demir hasn't even gone over 50 yet.
No.
He had 50.
He's not really been involved.
And that's it. Yeah, you mentioned the defense. Outside of that Navy game, the defense has been very good. They look faster. I feel like they play more aggressive. They fly to the football. They're hitting. Just a hard-nosed defense. It's weird. For the first time in a long time, I feel confident when the defense is on the field. And it's kind of a flip. Like when the offense is out there, I'm not really sure what I'm going to get. Like, are we about to have a really nice looking drive and drive down the field and get a tutty, or are we about to go 3 and out very quickly? I don't know. But with the defense, I feel like I know that we're more than likely probably getting a stop to this point. Also, shout out to the defense because for the second game in a row, I thought we were going to lose a streak. Obviously, in MTSU, we lost Seth's touchdown pass streak. And it looked like Saturday we were going to lose the nation's current longest streak of scoring 20 points in a game. But thanks to Kobe Minor and Chandler Martin, who got our first defensive touchdown in Chandler, which I think is what I said. I think I said Chandler would score the first defensive tutty.
That sounds right.
We got 21 points on the board. Also, we were at Timothy's Youngin's birthday party out there at Jumpin' Jelly Bean. Shout out if they'd like to sponsor the show. So we were watching on the phone. I had to watch it several times because did not understand why the referee initially signaled that it was a safety. There was absolutely zero way that was a safety in any aspect. I have no idea how that was the initial call. Unless he was trying to say that he was already down when the guy lost the ball, maybe, and he knew that it would be reviewed. I don't know. But But shout out to the defense for keeping our streaks alive.
Yeah. Again, defense has been great. The biggest thing is turnovers, right? I think we've seen it game after game, always finding a way to get the ball, making the moves on the ball. I'm very impressed by a lot of the guys they brought in. You know, we've talked about Chandler Martin 1,000 times. Elijah Herring, when he's in, he's great. Kobe Minor has been great. You and I specifically have called out AJ Watt. We think he's been great. Jordan Greer, as of late, has been really good. I think he led the team at the USF in tackles. Who else? There's been one more defender that's been really good. Going blank. Oh, the linebacker, the Harvard guy. I think he's played really well as well.
Oh, Hudson.
What's his name? Hudson.
Matt
Yes,
Hudson.
thank you. Yeah, Hudson. I think he's been really good as well.
Yeah. Again, outside of that Navy game, and I want to play them again.
Yeah,
because I think it would be different.
Sure.
I think we would look much different on defense, and I think we could be as effective offensively. I think it would be a much lower scoring game. It would probably be like a 28-24 or something ridiculous. But the defense has been solid, very solid. I think they're 13th overall in the country as far as points allowed, and that is including giving up 56
Yeah.
to the Navy. So giving up 15 points a game. Obviously, you had the 3 this week. You had 7 against MTSU. You had a shutout earlier in the year, 12 at Florida State. They're doing their part for sure. It's just weird to be in this phase of Memphis football where it feels like defense is the reason that you're winning ball games.
Yeah.
But I will say, outside of the Navy game, I feel like Saturday night in the Liberty Hole, the Mean Green of UNT are coming to town. And Timothy, I feel like this is going to be a good test for the defense here.
Sure.
You're bringing in a Mean Green team who's 5-1. Only loss is an absolute onslaught by David Carter and the Fighting Red Raiders out of Texas Tech. Davion Carter. Outside of that, they're fresh off of a come-behind victory at FAU. They won 41-37. They were down that entire ball game. Came back and won. They beat Tulsa 52-20, 44-17 against Wyoming, and then 35-20 against Stephen F. Austin. So they haven't necessarily really played anybody outside of that Texas Tech game, but
yeah,
I mean, at 5-1, and they beat South Florida too, first game of the year, 52-38. They got a quarterback in Chandler Morris who's slinging the rock. He's already got 2,000 yards through the air, 20 touchdown passes. That he's more than doubling up Seth on touchdowns. How many points are they averaging?
Looking at their schedule, and you kind of said it, it's not too far from Memphis in terms of strength of schedule. I mean, they really haven't played anybody. I mean, obviously the Texas Tech. Their 5-1 is just as impressive as ours. I think that's fair to say, right? So it is going to be interesting, right? Now, I do think that they're a very good offense. They have a very good quarterback. They hit a tough streak here of Memphis, Tulane, and Army. It's unfortunate we get them on the front end of that, but I do think it is going to be a very good test because we haven't really played an offense just yet that is such a power passing offense, I guess, right? Like USF, I kind of started to mention this earlier. Like USF is a very up tempo, throw the ball, move type of offense, but we were kind of working with a handicapped USF, if you will, without their quarterback. So it's going to be interesting, right? I'm very interested to see how this is going to pan out. Like, right, our pass defense hasn't truly been tested, right? I mean, I can't think of a game that's truly been tested, at least. So,
no, I mean, outside of MTSU and that Kelly kid kind of going off on us.
Yeah.
I mean, North Texas is averaging 41 points a game and 345 through the air. A little over 345.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you got
So
We
they're slinging that
allowed
thing.
234 against South Florida, 283 at MTSU. I guess Navy's passing attack is something we are not mentioning, but a little bit different.
That doesn't
Yeah, a
count.
little different there of an argument. Florida
That's
State
not
201, Troy 150. So, all things considered,
We'll
we
s-
truly
we'll
haven't
see.
been tested through the pass.
Defensively, we've been giving up fewer than 200 yards average, 198 through the air on average. Just over 300 yards a game. It puts us at 13th in the country by yards per game. And then points. Oh, wait, maybe that wasn't 13.
What?
We're 16, 21 in total defense yards, and then points were 13th overall. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Something's going to have to give. Either the Memphis defense is going to step up and shut down North Texas, or we're going to find ourselves in a little bit of a shootout. A la last year when we went down to Denton and needed a Hail Mary at the end of it from Joe Skates to pull it out.
Yeah, I will say, if there's any shining light for the Tigers, I think it's important to note that North Texas defense is about equivalent as Memphis's defense of last year, right? So they're giving up 200 rushing yards twice, 152 more times, right? So the only time they haven't let up a lot of rushing yards was against Stephen F. Austin and Wyoming, who are both not exactly very good teams in all. So
what
they give up 432 passing yards for South Alabama, 354 versus Texas Tech, and 351 versus FAU. So they're definitely porous, and
we should have
we kind of have
500
a
total
blueprint.
yards of offense. It feels like, though, given what they're capable of offensively, we just talked about at the beginning of the show, this feels like you get an early lead and then you sit on that ball control, chewing clock, and keep the ball out of North Texas's hands as much as possible, out of Chandler Morris, so he's not slinging 3 tutties on you. I wouldn't hate a feed BT and Mario game when they both eclipse 100 yards.
Yeah.
What's the over-under on this? I might take the under because we're just going to chew that clock up. 66 and a half.
67, yeah, something like that.
Line opened at Memphis minus 12 and a half, 13 on some books. Timothy, were you shocked by that? Feels high.
That Memphis has favored that heavily?
I think we've covered all but one this season, haven't we?
I
think our only non-cover straight up against the spread is Navy because we were a favorite. I think every other game we've covered.
Yeah. I think you're right.
You covered week 1, you covered
personally.
Troy, you covered Florida State, you covered MTSU, and you covered South Florida. So you're 5-1 against the spread. You're against the spread matches your regular season record. So I don't know. I mean, I was a little bit surprised by it. Maybe it's just me being misled by their 5-1 record. Maybe they're not as good as what their record indicates based on who they've played, but I didn't think it was going to be double digits.
I'm the other way around. I think. Sorry, that was probably very loud to everybody. My bad. No, I think the. What would you say it was 13 and a half? I think that's what
it opened. I think it opened at 12. Now. I think it opened at 12 and a half. It's sitting at. Currently, DraftKings has it at 10 and a half, I think.
Yeah, it still seems pretty high though, right? Because I do think they have similar strength of schedule. So like I think they're pretty on par team. I don't think it's gonna be a pick 'em just because it was at Memphis. I think if it were at North Texas, I could see it being a pick 'em. That does seem like a lot at 12 and a half, but you're saying it's down to 10 now. So I guess that's fair. Just because it's at home. It's at Memphis and they've been so good at home for so long.
Yeah, it's 10 and a half. I wouldn't have been surprised at it to be opened at 10 and a half, 9 and a half, and then kind of gone down to maybe 7 and a half. But
yeah,
opening at almost 2 touchdowns, I'm like, shit, last week, did you watch us? We only scored 2 offensive touchdowns. So what are you expecting us to win 14-0? Like,
Yeah,
that's a
no, this
lot
is
of
gonna be.
defensive and special teams tutties to cover that.
You were saying take the under, right? Isn't that what you were talking about?
I mean, kind of. It feels like, given what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, we might go this ball control, eat it up, especially if they allow rushing yards. You may just ground and pound. You get an early lead. Let's sling
Yeah.
it for the first quarter. You get up 21-3 or 7, and then just feed Spit and Mario and BT and call it a night.
See, I
It's
was
gonna be
thinking it was
it's
going
gonna
to
be
be a little
chilly on
different.
Saturday. What, you're thinking
It's
just air it out in another 45-42 ball game?
Yeah, I do actually. I think it's going to be a situation where FAU starts getting North Texas starts getting chunk plays through the air, and then it's going to be one of those things where
We
it'll
have to
be a
score.
third and 12, and their quarterback scrambles because he is a mobile quarterback. I know the stats don't really say that, but he can definitely run. Not like in the sense that like Seth can run, like because he has legs. I mean, like he is actually like a mobile quarterback. I could see him extending a lot of plays with his legs, and obviously the offense is just set up to do these things the way they play. I could see it being a shootout. And I think Memphis is gonna, obviously at some point they're gonna have to abandon the run because I expect it to be more of a shootout, and they're gonna have to get a little more one dimensional just to be able to keep up with the points and the maybe not even less points. There will be a lot of ball movement, but I don't know if there will be a lot of points scored. How about it? I'll word it that way. A lot of yards, not a ton of points. Whatever ton means.
Yeah, we'll see. FPI gives us a 73.2% chance to win. We said 6:30 kickoff, ESPNU in the Liberty Hall. It should be a beautiful night. It's going to be nippy out there, mid-50s, lower 50s by the end of the game. Timothy, give me a score prediction before we take our break here. You're going high. I already know it. So
I am. Would you say
give me that
under
over
was what?
66 and a half.
Yeah. I mean, I could see this being a 42-35 finish. Like I could see it being a pretty good showing.
Okay.
I'd love to be wrong.
I don't hate it. I do think the under's going to hit. I think we are going to get like a 2-score lead and then kind of sit on it. It's very, very NFL of Ryan, especially if you can get the ground game going. I'm going under the 66 and a half, so I think it's going to be like maybe like a 31-21 game.
Okay.
Although I don't know, we keep covering, so to get over maybe 31-17. I'm gonna go 31-17.
Okay.
I think the Big D steps up again, holds them well under their average, but they get a couple scores on long pass plays down the field there.
Maybe I'm still haunted by Memphis of yesteryear, Memphis of goes past.
I think
it's going to be a situation where it's the defense just lets up chunk play, and
will you
hopefully
be
I'm wrong.
All in after Saturday if the defense shuts out North Texas? Where's TJ at on the defense?
No, I mean I think the defense is good now. Good is relative to whom they play, and I don't know that they've been tested through the air. Honestly, I really don't. I know there was one receiver in that MTSU game, and he was doing some good work. But he's a damn good player, though. Like, let's be honest here. He's done that to a lot of teams, right? That's a former Auburn guy. I think I would feel more comfortable going deeper into conference play with a good showing from the pass defense.
Their best players from Corinth. DT Sheffield, 5'10" junior. He's got 34 receptions for 445 and 7 tutties.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. That's also the nature of their offense, though.
He had 11 catches for 126 and 2 touchdowns at FAU. 8 for 109 and 1 touchdown against Wyoming. He had 6 for 74 and 3 touchdowns against Stephen F. Austin.
Huh. Yeah, that's an offense that throws it 40, 50 times a games. So that's not too surprising.
Yeah. Get out to the Sim. 2 5-1 ball clubs. It's going to be a beautiful, crisp fall evening in the Liberty Hole. Come out and support these Tigs.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we're talking about let's get out of the conference because no one loves the conference and everyone in the conference is bad. This is probably the best team you're going to play until we get Tulane? No.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be favored from here on out until Tulane probably. And depending on what happens between now and then, like, there's no telling what that might be at in 6 weeks.
I was trying to think of who the next best team was. I'm assuming it's Tulane because everybody else is dog water. Or
for us to play, I don't know. Like, UTSA sucks. They just lost to Rice. So is it Rice? Because UAB is putrid. Charlotte, maybe. They just put up 56 on East Carolina.
They did. They look better.
Out of the remaining games after North Texas, our next best opponent may be Charlotte the week after.
Yeah, I mean, we're shitting on North Texas, but they're hosting the arguably the third or fourth best record overall and the third best conference schedule.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Get out to the Sim, the Liberty Hole. We'll see you Saturday. We'll be right back.
One, I want to see them be intentional about getting Dane Dange the basketball. I want to see that happen. I've heard so many good things about him in training camp, the weight he's lost, how he's moving around. He can be a connector of sorts, decent passer. He can put the ball on the ground. He can shoot from the mid-range a little bit. But with all of the talent he has, I don't think since the second half of the season with Jalen Duren, they've been very intentional about getting a natural big five the ball. So I want to see them be intentional about that off the jump. And then also I want to see their three-point shooting. Can Tyrese Hunter, PJ Haggerty, PJ Carter sort of supplement what Colby Rogers can do? You have Colby Rogers, who can be a knockdown 40% three-point shooter, but outside of that, you have a lot of guys that hover around 30 to 33%. You have to see who can supplement that type of shooting because you're going to need it in the out of conference to take down a lot of these really good teams you're going to play.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
This is a question I don't know if you've ever been asked. Was there anyone you ever wanted to dunk on?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you haven't get a big kick out of that one. I'm glad you've been waiting all day for that. Just waiting all day to get that little jokey joke in. Oh, you got a joke. But yeah, I always wanted to dunk in the game. That's what I wanted to do. And it didn't have to be on anybody. I wanted it to be off of a missed shot, like on an offensive rebound, so that everyone's around or in the vicinity when it happened.
Did you ever dunk in practice and get overly excited?
Yes. and everybody be like, well, are you going to do it in a game? And I'm like, no.
Tune in to the Night Court podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What up? We are back fresh. It's 10:30, Timothy. Earlier tonight at 6 o'clock inside FedEx Forum. Your Tigs took on the Tar Heels of North Carolina. A solid first half. You're up 39-36 at the half. You were up by 11 in that first half. Ultimately, end up falling a little bit short. North Carolina went on a pretty big run there in the second half, got up by as many as 15, end up losing by 8, 84-76. Timothy, give me your immediate overreaction to what we just witnessed in the exhibition game.
Just more of the same with different names.
Yeah, we suck. This is an IT team.
I'm not going that far.
This is an overreaction, TJ. Danger's incredibly overrated. I never want to ever see a shooter from Wichita State on our roster ever again. We turn the ball over nonstop. We take bad shots. We can't shoot again. We have no outside shooting presence. Our best shooter, who's supposed to be 40% from the floor, was 18% tonight, 2 of 11. We had 9 turnovers between our 2 primary ball handlers. We sucked at the free throw line. It's more of the same. Okay, now give me your realistic.
No, I said what I said. I said what I said.
Your overreaction and your realistic are the same. It's just more of the same.
I think so. Yeah, man. So it's just the same thing. I mean, I said this earlier in the year, probably in the group chat. If you're not a Bluff City Media Discord member, you should be. Just throwing that out there. But I mentioned this earlier in the year. I think the names are going to change, right? We have all these different players. You know, the only name we truly know is Jourdain. You just bring in a completely new roster, and I don't expect things to be too terribly different, right? You're still playing at this high speed. You have a bunch of guys that are, I say a bunch, probably 3 guys that all want the ball in their hand at the same time. And they, you know, without the ball in their hand, they're really not that efficient. I think you're going to go through situations where it's back and forth on who should have the ball, who shouldn't have the ball. And I don't know. It's hard for me to say and give a true prediction until I see it a little bit more, right? This one exhibition is not, you know, you can't really put much into it, I don't think. I will say you lost by what, 12 points?
8.
Is that 8 points? Okay.
Yeah.
You lost by 8 points, and they didn't have their best player.
Not just Timothy. It's not. You can't even just say not just their best player. I mean,
An All-American, like one of the greatest, the best players in college basketball currently.
And then you had a guy, Seth Trimble, go off for 30 on you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you can't take too much out of it. It's October the 15th. I mean, I will say I was pretty disappointed in what I saw from Dane Danger. He does not. We've heard all this about he'd slimmed down. I don't know if it's the white uniforms, but he did not look that slim to me at times. Like up close,
I think he looks slim.
He looked a little slower than I was anticipating. I will say he did show some flashes and capability, much more so than we saw all of last season out of Jordan Brown. So I think there obviously is a lot of potential there. I mean, we opened the game feeding him. He made a hell of a post move and scored. There were flashes of good things, though. I think the defensive intensity is there. So I think there's still some communication pieces. The pick and roll was getting us a little bit. We were leaving cutters wide open for easy buckets. But I think they have the potential to be one of those teams that plays that defensive style effectively to what Penny's liking is. Offensively, the shooting, I mean, disappointed. Honestly, I was making a joke. I was being facetious about the shooters from Wichita State, but the reality is we've heard all this about Kobe Rogers knocking shots down, and he was 2 of 11 from 3. So obviously you have off nights, but giving me a little bit of PTSD from Walton last year. So need to see some improvement there. I mean, anything that sticks out was PJ. Had 24 and 9, 3 assists. In 34 minutes. Well, that's what you like. Hunter had a couple minutes span in the first half where he looked real good. He had a quick 7 points, only ended up with 9, so he kind of fell off there in the second half. And then I think the real
Jourdain was the surprise for me, but
he had some. It's kind of the same Jourdain where he makes a good play and then he has like there's a period where he had like 2 quick fouls and a turnover. I'll say the real bright spot for me was Jared Harris. I mean, in I think 10-ish minutes, he was 2 of 2 from the floor. He had some good hit a transition bucket or a steal, and he dipped it off for a transition. That's the other thing, especially after last year, we actually looked competent on a fast break and were successful on those. Where it felt like last year, I don't know that. I think we had more successful fast breaks tonight in this North Carolina game than we had all of last season. So I don't know. I don't think you can take too much from it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes here in 13 days. We play Alabama on the 28th, and the season kicks off the following Monday against Missouri. I mean, I'll be honest. We'll see more, but outside of like, I think this team will be good in the American.
Yeah, sure.
I do not think we're going to go 13-2 in the out of conference again. There could be some rough patches out of conference just because of the schedule that you're playing, but I think no question that this is a team that is capable of winning the AAC, which leads me into my next point of freaking media days and the coaches' predictions. It's laughable that UAB was picked first and we were picked second.
Was it?
It is. In every metric, we're like 40 spots better than them. Why? Just because they have Yaxel? We have 7 of the top 10 players in the conference. Why is it?
That's not why.
Why
it's
is
the Penny effect? They're literally voting against Penny because they've been down this road for 7 years. They've seen this consistently. Memphis gets ranked first to win the conference, and do they ever win the conference? No. So they're just saying, like, look, at this point, the guy can't get it done. That's what it seems like to me, at least.
I will say this: if we do not win the American this year, it's a travesty. There's no reason
win the
for
American regular season outright or the tournament.
Yes, regular season. Winning the tournament, it's cool, but that's more about a team playing well over the course of 3 days in a tournament. Like a single elimination event is not. There. I need to see a conference season length amount of success thrown together over the course of 18 games. I mean, give me a 15-3 conference record or something and win the regular season.
Yeah, that would be incredible. But
I don't think that's too much to ask. And I'll be honest, what I saw, the team that I saw tonight, I think is capable of doing that. Now, it may be a little bit rougher of an out of conference because of the competition you're playing. You're going to get tested very early. You're playing in your first 8 games. I think half of those are like top 80 metric-wise teams. That doesn't even take into effect whoever you may play after UConn and the Maui. So, like, I mean, you're looking up. At some point, we may be 4-4 in a conference. But I think I think they'll figure it out. They'll come together. This seems like a team they got the personality types to fit together, I feel like. I know you said there's 3 guys out there that want the ball in their hands at all time, but, like, I don't think this is a team like last season or even the Imani team where you have, like, these overwhelming strong personalities that are going to, like, negatively affect the locker room. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, here's the issue is that your conference, the bottom of your conference is just so bad. It's so bad that you should do pretty damn well in conference, like Rice and UTSA. I know that Tulane is ranked 188th in Kenpom, but for some reason we will always struggle with them, and I think that is Hunter just knowing how to play Penny tough. Like I think that just kind of is what it is. You said 15-3 in conference.
I think it's doable. I don't think that. I mean, at 14-4, whatever you want to give him, you want to give 4 slip ups, fine.
Yeah, but here's my question: is 4 slip ups enough to win the conference?
I mean, that is.
Is
a lot
someone
of
gonna? Is
work.
there gonna be a USF again? Are you gonna have that?
I don't know. I
that
haven't looked at
Cinderella story
everybody's.
sneak in there.
I haven't looked at everybody's schedule, but I remember USF having a relatively Army football like schedule.
Yeah, I
You
think it's going to be another situation where you're knocking on the door with somebody, right?
Yeah.
I think the talent of this team, yes, to your point, it should win the American Conference, right? I don't think anyone should be debating that. Will they get it done? Up for debate, right? I don't know that we've seen them enough to be able to truly answer that question,
Yeah.
right? And I'm trying not to have any. I'm trying not to look at them now and say this team should win X number of games. Like pretty much, I have no expectations.
I have no idea what I
until
would
I've
even
seen
pick.
6 or 7 games, right? And then I'll reassess around. I think you joked about it. I said December or January, and you said wait till February, since we get through the dog days of January.
Yeah, you got to get through that like 2.5 week period of January.
Yeah. And then I'll reassess and then see where we're at, right? Because we've done this before, right? What was the streak last year? How many games was it? I mean, 10 straight. And
Of
then
what?
the wheels fell off. Well, just of Memphis looking incredible at basketball.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to 15-2, and then you went what 7-8 over your last.
Yeah, it was
15?
embarrassing. Yeah.
You mentioned Kenpom. His official rankings did drop. Memphis came in at 43, which feels, I mean, that's right in between what you had at Bartorvik and then Evan Maya, right? Didn't Maya have his like 50?
That sounds about right. Let's see if we look it up.
I'll say this. I was talking about having maybe a potentially rough out of conference and going 14-4 out of or in conference. If you just look at his straight up predictions that he currently has, how many losses would you say he currently has us having throughout our entire record, our entire season?
Entire record?
Yeah.
Who
Right now,
is this again?
Kenpom. If you go to Kenpom, you look at his predictive results of what we will do each game. How many losses are on our schedule currently, as it stands?
Eight.
No, 2. Timothy.
Stop it.
He has 2.
Stop.
Now his record projection has us with 8 overall. So you nailed it there. But if you go and you look in at just his predictive results game by game, there right now he only has 2 losses, with us having a 26% chance to win against Connecticut. He has them winning 77-70. And then a 31% chance to win at Clemson, with Clemson winning 77-71. Every single other game on our schedule has us a greater than 50% chance to win.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at I don't know that it's guaranteed we're beating Mizzou at home.
In conference.
It's wrong.
Well,
whatever
it's not
number
a guarantee,
he has is
but
wrong.
he's giving us the most he doesn't have us losing. I mean, he has us projected record going 14-4. But from a results projection on the current schedule, he doesn't have us losing a game. The closest we have to
losing a single game?
Not in conference right now, projection wise. The closest we don't even have one in the 50%. Okay, at UAB, he gives us a 54% chance to win 77-76. That is our lowest percent chance to win out of conference. Everything else is
that's absurd.
70, 80, 90%. There's a couple in the 60s.
I think you're just convincing me that I need to be all out on Kenpom and using Kenpom as a
just,
as a
I
reference
mean,
point.
obviously we need data. Some people say don't
Yeah.
even look at this stuff until January, so who knows?
Sure.
But
No,
interesting to look at it today and him have only right now as a result in here, predictive wise, only 2 current losses on this entire schedule. Obviously, that doesn't include all the Maui games. So there's 2 games missing, but nonetheless, I mean, you're talking about, what is that, 27-2 based on what's on this. I don't think that's possible, but
Yeah, I don't know.
anyway, I mean,
Sorry,
out
Kenpom.
of your first 8, right now he's got you projected to beat Missouri by 4. He's got you projected to beat UNLV by 2. Those are toss-ups. 12 over Ohio. He's got you projected to beat San Fran by 3 on the road. That's another toss-up. And L to UConn. So say even out of your first 5, those 3 toss-ups go the wrong way, you only beat Ohio, you're looking at, after your first game in Maui, potentially being 1-4.
Yeah.
Talk about freak out. People would be freaking out. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying we're not coming out playing cupcakes. These are no pushovers. We're not coming out playing sub 200 rated team, even 150.
So let me ask you
I mean,
this.
we don't even play anybody below 125 until East Carolina in conference.
Let's say you get through the 4 games before Maui, go through Maui, and right before you start conference play. So that's Ole Miss, State, Virginia, Clemson, Arkansas State, La Tech. How many games you're going to play in Maui? I mean,
3.
3, yeah. I'm trying to make up a number off the top of my head. So what's that? If 12 total before you get the conference play? Is that right?
Play 13 total.
13?
Mm-hmm.
So if you come out of that at 7-6, do you think people are losing it at that moment in time? People being like Memphis fans, right?
Yeah. 100. Yes, I do. I mean, a lot of that's going to depend on who you lost to and how you lost those games, but I don't think it's unrealistic for us to go 2-1 in Maui or 1-2 in Maui. I mean, you definitely losses at Clemson and Virginia are very realistic. I mean, I don't think we will, but you could obviously, you could realistically lose 4 in a row with Clemson, Virginia State, and Ole Miss. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying it wouldn't be like,
sure.
It definitely wouldn't be unheard of. We've lost 4 in a row before, but to far inferior opponents. But if we're looking up at 7-6 before conference play starts, I think there will definitely be people freaking out.
I don't think it'll be 7-6, but
I don't know.
Just trying to throw out a wild number there.
And I don't know that it would be a cause for freak out either, because you're playing one of the best out of conference schedules in the country.
Sure. That would be a very Memphis thing to go 7-6 through that 13 game span.
Yeah.
And then just start cruising the conference and then drop at Tulane, at Rice, Tulsa, and then clear out the rest of it or something like that.
Timothy.
I'm just saying that would.
That's the stretch that you pick?
I just picked the random stretch, dude. I just picked the random stretch of losing games that we have no business losing.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely learn more in the coming weeks. I will say the encouraging thing, and who knows how true this is, encouraging thing post-game Penny said we
Mhm.
ran no sets. He left it up to the players. He didn't want to put anything on film, which I kind of get. I mean, you're playing on national television. There's no other college basketball game on.
Yeah.
I don't see that being an unreasonable thing, but it's also like, is that the only game we're going to
Do
go
you
out and not
believe
run
him?
it? Yeah. But I'm also like, is that going to happen in the regular season where we go out and we don't run any sets either? I don't know. He did say that the team that was out there tonight did not play at the pace or style that we will typically play. He said it was a great tape. It was put together a great tape for him to teach from.
Okay.
So we'll see. All right, Timothy, jumping into Fade TJ Thunder picks. You, my man, have really turned into Fade TJ.
What do you mean? I went back to back. Week 5 and 6, I look good.
Here you are
Week
with
7 was not great.
Not even close.
No, Texas is good. I just thought maybe it meant a little bit more. That's what I hear in the SEC. It means more, but it did not mean more to Oklahoma last
To
week.
Oklahoma, it did not mean more. They did not cover the 15.5. Timothy falls to, what does that put you
shut
at?
it up too.
4-4?
Yes, 4-4.
Oh, so you were literally 50-50 TJ.
That's the why we name it this, right?
Well, I need to get it off Fade TJ and put it at 50-50. Sitting at 4-4, your boy Thunder picks hit again. I am at 6-2, I think 7-1, depending on what you thought about which one of my picks I took last week. I took LSU plus the 3.5. They didn't just take that 3.5. They won by a tud in overtime, bud. So give me what you got this week.
I'm trying to see who has the best line on it. I'm going to alter my number a little bit.
For which game?
I'm going back to Oklahoma.
Stop it. You get on these fixes. It was Michigan.
I know.
Notre Dame. Now you're on Oklahoma?
Well, it's because Oklahoma, when Oklahoma's coming off a loss to Texas since 1999, they are 9-0 straight up.
But that's not
6-3
they hadn't been playing
against
in the SEC.
I'm just letting you know what the stat says. I don't think South Carolina is honestly that good of a football team. I know that they've had a couple of good games this year. I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 2.5. And I think Oklahoma will cover that.
Yeah, by at least a touch.
I'm a sicko. I'm going back to the
or
Sooners.
At least a field. They just need a field goal win. They can do that.
Yeah, it seems safe. I don't think Oklahoma's very good, honestly, but I thought Red River rivaled me meant a little more.
That'll push you over. There's one in here I like. I'm probably not taking it, but South Florida's minus 13.5 at home against UAB, and UAB is so bad at football that it's not even funny. But I don't know that Brown will be back. I think they could probably even do it with Archie, but I'm sticking clear of that one. And I am going. This might catch you off guard, Timothy. I kind of want to take our under just because I've said it so much earlier in the show, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
My official pick is going to be Mississippi State plus 15.5 at home against A&M.
Really?
Yeah, really. Might be a dangerous pick.
Slightly,
But they played Georgia on the road close this weekend. And Timothy, get this, they're averaging more points offensively in SEC play than Ole Miss is. And all I need is A&M just to win by 14. They can State can keep it 2 touchdowns.
Can they?
Yeah, in Stark Vegas, those cowbells ringing. I think they can do it. Has A&M?
Toledo thinks otherwise.
Yeah. We'll see. I think that's what I'm going with, though.
Okay.
I mean, they only lost by 10 at Georgia. And you think Georgia's a better football team than A&M? I mean, this is an A&M team that beat Bowling Green by 7 at home. You either go out there and blast State in Stark Vegas by more than 2 touchdowns?
Yes. But
All right.
it's your bet. You're better at this than me. The numbers say that. I was really teetering between going back to Oklahoma, or taking Iowa State minus 14 over UCF. Only because Iowa State has looked great this year. KJ is benched.
Yeah, who's their quarterback they put in?
I don't even know. Let's see.
Another one I almost took, Timothy. It's actually a little bit of Friday night late action. I almost told you guys just to do a little bit of money line underdog on Nevada hosting Fresno State. Nevada coming off a big dub over Oregon State this weekend.
It's not saying much.
I'll stick with the plus 15.5 for State.
Okay.
All right, let's get in this crosstown Oh, whoop, wrong one. Did it not update? What? Oh, no.
What'd you do?
It's not crosstown. I don't know what happened.
So we can have nice things.
This is what happens when Kenny's not here
high and dry,
to
dude.
produce. Grind City's Octoberfest.
That is correct. That is correct. I know I have a little bit left in mine too. Earlier you missed it. I had the can. I picked up kind of sideways. I went to drink it and just kind of poured beer down my face.
Dribbled down. Yeah, I just accidentally knocked mine over and a little bit got on the couch. So I'm gonna have to clean that up. Classic
with the can. Yeah.
I do appreciate that they add the flag down there at the bottom, but it's not. I mean, these cans don't do it for me.
No, they never do.
I mean, it's like
I like the shiny blue. Does that count for anything?
Yeah, it's fine. Doesn't come through great on YouTube, but
It doesn't.
I don't know. This is like a 5.8 can for me, to be honest.
A 5.8 can, eh?
I just don't like. I can't even tell that. I don't know if it's like sitting in the fridge thing at the grocery store, and you're doing a pick one pack. Like you don't even know what this is. Look at this.
No, it's not
sitting
great.
there like that. Like I have no idea this is an Octoberfest.
Yeah, you do get the Bavarian flag. That's what Trey was pointing out, that Bavarian flag that all Oktoberfest cans essentially have. I'm going like a 5.3. I'm with you. I think we've been pretty consistent on being quite judgmental against Grind City's can. They are the new who's the other brewer?
It's Memphis made.
Memphis made, yeah. We've been pretty heavy on them.
I almost feel like Grind City is maybe worse because they've also gone all white on all of them. So they give me a real seltzer vibe. You know what I mean?
I get that. I can see that.
Beer on the other hand was great. It's a good Oktoberfest.
For me personally, it's a little malty, but I'm not going to complain too much about that.
Yeah. It's not quite as malty as last week, but it's still there. It's not my favorite Oktoberfest, but it's good enough. I appreciate them giving us in a pint. What did I give the Crosstoberfest last week?
6.9.
Yeah, it's not that good, but it's not too far below it. I'm going 6.6 on this. Just 3 decis below.
We're about the same. I thought it was about a 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", something like that. I did like last week's better. The maltiness, I brought down more points because for me, this one has a lot of malt in it compared to last week's beer. So
Yeah,
kind of is what it is there. I feel like I'm personally
good-
attacking this beer.
it's a good fall brew.
Speaking of brews, did you see? Let me go back and find this real quickly. Our good friend Brent Scroggins tagged us in a post from the Daily Memphian. Memphis made Wiseacre Brewing Co. struck gold at the prestigious Great American Beer Festival, beating out 156 other entries from breweries with their beer of Skydog.
Skydog's so good.
So good. Letting you know that is an 8.25 on the Tigers Untapped scale. That's pretty damn good.
Such a good brew.
Tigers Untapped approved. That Skydog. That's a good one. So shout out to Brent. Said he heard it from us first. We were the first to introduce him to Skydog, and it's a damn good beer.
That's really all on Timothy. I got our beer connoisseur himself.
Look, I grabbed cans we've never had
because of Timothy.
Just grab the beers we've never had, Take it day by day.
Well, I'm excited to see what you give us next week. I know it'll be something I've never seen before, and for that, I thank you.
Hopefully.
It gets me real excited. So, don't overreact to the exhibition game.
No.
Come out, enjoy some ball control,
Definitely.
possession football on Saturday and a good, crisp fall evening between two 5-1 football clubs. We ain't played a whole lot of teams this season with winning records, so get out to the Liberty Bowl. Watch these Tigs. Watch us ground and pound. Cover the spread and win by 3 scores at 24-6. And then come back next week with a cold beer and stay for our hot takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.